On today's Hot Sheet, I'm discussing housing inventory, metros where mortgage payments are cheaper than the rent, and the number of mortgage-free homeowners. Today is Monday, September 16th, 2024. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hot Sheet starts now. Welcome into the Hot Sheet. Let me know which market you are tuning in live from as we kick off another week here on this Monday. We have a bunch of stuff to go over. Obviously, we're going to go over inventory as we do every single Monday. Before we do that, I need to remind you, if you haven't grabbed your ticket to BAM Mania, do that today. BAMmania.com, where you can see the entire speaker lineup and the venue that we're hosting the event of the year at. October 17th and 18th is our VIP opportunity. So many of you have already grabbed a VIP. It's going to be a smaller exclusive group than the main session. VIP tickets are about to sell out. Then we will just be left with general admission. General admission ticket holders still get into the October 17th Legacy Club kickoff, which will be in the evening of Thursday. And then obviously you get into the after event party at Stadium Swim. Circle Las Vegas is the brand new, basically, venue on the Fremont Strip. It's never been a real estate event there before. Make sure you check out your opportunity to get tickets at BAMmania.com today. BAMX members all get 25% off of their tickets there. Okay, let's jump into it. Got a lot to talk about here today, and particularly on starting with inventory, as we do every single Monday. Okay, weekly inventory, something that we're tracking. And listen, this time of year, we started to see that seasonal decline. Okay, the seasonal decline that kicks in every year on inventory. The last 2 weeks, it popped up and was apparent that, hey, maybe we're now officially on the decline for the year that we've seen really in all normal years. You know, at this point, really in August, you start to see the decline of active inventory throughout the year. I was particularly hopeful that this year could be different, that we're in that phase of gaining inventory back, that we could even maybe get up to 760,000 plus on active inventory across the country. That's roughly where we started the year in 2020 before the pandemic. I'm like, if we can get to that level, that'd be such a big win after we bottomed out in 2022 at 240,000. Well, this week, we actually saw a huge increase in comparison to the last 2 weeks. Remember, the last 2 weeks, we lost inventory. So we started that seasonal decline. Well, this week, we bounced up from 703,600 plus, bumped up 10,000 on active listings to 713,600 plus, a true 10,000 pop on active listings. That's 38% more than last year. And you can see here the trend line is moving up at a time when the trend lines in 17, 18, and 19 were all moving down at this time of year. Obviously, as you get later in the year, you get to October, November, that trend line really starts to move down. I say 17, 18, and 19 because those are much more normal markets when it relates to inventory than what we've seen the last few years and the disruption of COVID, obviously. So now there might be a case to be made that active inventory is going to, because we've been so low, is going to be a little late season pop, maybe end of September, early October pop, which would go against the trend of what we've seen in other normal markets. Pat Tasker asks, do you think this is because of the Labor Day pop? Yeah, I do. I think there's, obviously, a percentage of folks that waited until, okay, I got end of August, holiday vacation type of mindset. I've got an actual holiday in Labor Day, and I'm going to push that listing off. So that would really reflect in new listings if the pop was coming there. Okay. And we did see this this new listing pop. So 65,000 for new listings for this particular week. Same week in 23 and in 22 was lower. So we just beat both 23 and 22. We haven't beat 22 a lot this year on new listings. It's easy to beat up on 23 because 23 was the lowest level, ever recorded on new listings. But 65,000 helped drive that active inventory increase and that pop that you're talking about. But remember, active inventory, it's just the homes that are on the market. So that 10,000 increase was helped by new listings, but it was also helped by sellers saying, I'm staying on the market. I'm not taking my home off, meaning I really want to sell. I haven't gotten the offer, or maybe the traffic that I want, but the home is remaining on the market even as we get late into the season, even as we get later on into the year. So sellers deciding, I know we're within 60 days of an election, and this one's going to be pretty, contentious, and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty leading up to it. And, I was on the golf course on Saturday morning down in Naples. I'm up here in my Connecticut studio today. And one of the guys I was golfing with, he's actually originally from Connecticut. We've met down there, didn't know each other prior. And, he's got a house in Naples, and it's too big for him. He's thinking about selling it. And he's like, I'm just thinking I'm going to wait, so he's talking about the election. He's like, I'm thinking I'm going to wait. But he goes, I also think, because there's been a lot of inventory in Naples, that a lot of people are waiting, and there's going to be even more inventory after the election that comes on. And so he's like, I may even just wait a whole year and see how things shakes out. And we're just having a whole conversation. These are the things that he's thinking through as a consumer. Here's his thought process. Okay, I don't want to be on the market now because of election. That was, what he brought up. I don't want to go on immediately after election, even though that's selling season down there. That's more season, meaning more people are in that part of South Florida that time of year than outside of that time of year. Don't want to go on then, because I think there's others just like me who are waiting to sell their home till after the election. There's going to be abundance of inventory after the election. So he goes, I think I'm in a holding pattern until some things kind of shake out and we get back to some more normal phases. Obviously, that's a deeper discussion, and I got into that with him, throughout the round. But I just bring it up because this is a thought pattern. This is a sequencing pattern that some folks are going through right now, and particularly sellers. Okay. And so the fact that we did have that 10,000 increase, it means, okay, there are a percentage of sellers that are like, despite a lot of people thinking this way and even maybe having those thoughts, I'm going to stay on the market. This is the most we've seen since 2020 on inventory. Okay. We're starting to approach where we ended the year at 2019 and dangerously, close to 19 anyways, and starting to inch towards 17 where we ended the year. If we were still receive some gains throughout this year, I do believe the November, December drop is inevitable, as it is every year. That would really buck the trend if we, saw increases in those months. And then just for, further context to Pat's point, because I think Pat's point is obvious. You always get a bump after the holiday. The same week last year, inventory also rose 10,000. That was from 509,000 to 519,000. So we saw the same pop last year. We see a 10,000 pop this year. What's going to be really interesting is, what happens next week. This past week, though, does set a new inventory peak for the year at 713,000 plus. Okay. In say 2019, we're only in the 900,000. So we're a couple 100,000 away when you look at week over week. 19 ended in the 700,000s, which is where we're at today. Okay. Again, new listings was up over 2023 number and 2022 numbers, now 65,000 for the last week. As we look at price cuts, more people deciding, hey, I'm going to be than any other time in the last 4 years, I'm going to stay on the market. We're seeing more price cuts, 40.1% of homes. I'm sorry, these are pending, so that is not price cuts here. Let me get to the price cut percentage. Okay, price cut percentage. Okay, no, I had it right. Here is the price cut percentage, 40.1%. This year, same this week, 37% same week for last year, and 41% in 22. 22 was initial shock of the rate. So over 4 out of 10, just over 4 out of 10 homeowners are going into, pricing, cutting the price of their home. Okay, taking a look at pending sales right now, we've got 3.5% more single-family homes in contract than last year, 357,000 plus versus 345,000. 22 at this time, we had 390,000. So demand getting a little bit stronger than last year, and that's a good sign. We'll hope with where the rates are, we continue to see an increase in demand. When we looked at mortgage applications last week, that gap, that year-over-year gap, it continues to get smaller. What was once double-digit gap between, demand with mortgages, versus, from last year to this year is now in the low single digits, and maybe it'll even cross over this week. That's been driven by these rates. Speaking of the rates, mortgage payments fall lower than rent now in 22 of the 50 largest U.S. metros. If that is not a headline that you need to be speaking to your database and your customers, I don't know what is. The cost of monthly homeownership be more attainable than people think, but it depends obviously where they live. So the affordability debate is starting to flip when you go rent versus buy. And according to Zillow's new home analysis, a monthly mortgage payment is actually less expensive than rent in 22 of the largest 50 metros. Recent dips in mortgage rates have fallen to the lowest level since early 2023. Okay. Here are the 22 metros where mortgage payments are lower than rent. You got Hartford, New York, Philly, Buffalo, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, St. Louis, Virginia Beach, Memphis, Birmingham, OKC, Houston, San Antonio, New Orleans, Orlando, Tampa, and Miami on the list. Okay. Look at everything is like East Coast, Midwest. You've got nothing on the West Coast. So if you're on the West Coast, disregard this as a hook for your customers. But if you're on the East Coast, if you're in the Midwest, particularly, look at the Midwest, the Louisvilles, the Cincy's, the Pittsburghs, the Indies. I mean, Detroit, Chicago, really take advantage. Buffalo's on the list. I don't know if I mentioned Buffalo. Can't forget about Buffalo. Although the Bills fans, they won't let you forget about Buffalo. Philly, all these areas are now it's easier or cheaper to go and get a mortgage payment. Maybe not easier, but it's more financially savvy to get a mortgage payment than to go and rent a home. So that's a huge, at least, piece of information coming from the Zillow report that is important to get in front of your customers to have to at least start a conversation. I mentioned last week that I think the next 4 or 5 even months is going to be the best buying opportunity we've seen in years, and maybe the best buying opportunity we will see in years to come, because you have a couple of things that are diverging at the same time. Okay, you have the mortgage rates now at the lowest level since February 2nd, 2023. You have inventory at the highest level since 2020. And you also have a winter season coming up where on any 12-month cycle in any market, the winter brings lower prices in a 12-month cycle than, say, versus spring and summer, where prices are seasonally higher because you just have more competition, more buyers, more people pushing those prices up. So this next 4, 5, 6 months, you also have the uncertainty factor where it's going to keep some buyers on the sidelines and we get on the other side of that uncertainty, and those buyers come out and they're like, oh, rates are like 5.9. Hey, I want to be back in this game. And so you've got such a great opportunity for buyers to take advantage while they don't have, a lot of competition. And that might be forced in here as we get on the other side of election and into 2025. Now with this report from Zillow, it just makes sense in some markets to be a buyer versus a renter, to be active in getting yourself a great deal from a buyer perspective. And I think that agents seem to do a great job of letting their consumers know that. Taking some examples here from the report, Chicago, the typical rent payment is $2,074 per month, but a monthly mortgage payment is only $1,640 in Chicago. That's $434 a month on savings in Chicago. New Orleans, homeowners can save nearly $450 a month. Pittsburgh, the savings are about $320 a month. The trend is also true across the U.S. right now. The typical rent payment nationally is $2,063 a month, but the typical mortgage payment is $1,827, a savings of $236 a month by owning rather than renting. So Zillow Home Loan senior economist believes that homeownership may be more within reach than renters think. Coming up with the down payment is still the huge barrier. And the down payment, how big the down payment is and how much that, that buyer buys down points and gets themselves in a great situation is going to be, different for everybody. And that's also going to, depend on the ability for that person to bring down that monthly payment. Okay. Here are the metros where mortgage payments are lower than rent. Okay. New Orleans, again, Chicago, Pittsburgh, 1,400 versus 1,000. Miami is 27, almost 2,800 versus just under 2,500 on the mortgage payment. So Miami in that top 4 of monthly savings, you got New Orleans, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Miami, and then Memphis for the top 5, then followed by Cleveland, Detroit, Tampa, OKC, Houston, and Birmingham. They're in order. This Buffalo's on the list, but you save $8. I don't know if you can get, a beer at a Buffalo Bills game for $8. I'd be shocked if you can. Never been to Bills Stadium. Love to go someday. Anybody got season tickets? Let me know. I've got one of my friend's ashes I need to get on the field. I know that's illegal. Now it's been documented, but I've been hanging on to his ashes for way too long, and was a big Buffalo Bill fan. Got to get him over there. Virginia Beach, $10 savings. Can't get a lot of crabs with that. Philly, $24. San Antonio, $66, and then Hartford, $70. So that's the low end. When you flip it, that's still savings, but on the lower end there. And so, listen, if I'm saving $70 in Hartford, versus renting, if I'm going to be in the air 7-10 years, I want to be a homeowner versus renting. We know what that does for for the financial future of that individual. Okay, so one thing I do want to, and here's what Zillow also says, just to point out, I think this is interesting. In this report released Thursday, Zillow says that lower mortgage rates and rising inventory are giving homebuyers a window of opportunity at an unusual time of year. Well, Zillow said this Thursday. I've been saying it for 2 weeks. So good job on Zillow for watching the hot sheet. I know many peeps at Zillow are watching the hot sheet, so there's a little tongue-in-cheek there. Zillow noted that the U.S. median monthly mortgage payment in August declined by more than $100, since it peaked out in May. So that's a big drop, and this late summer, early fall, getting into the fall is an opportunity. Buyers have been waiting in the wings for a monthly mortgage payment they can qualify for. I would just continue to encourage agents to talk to their customers that it's like, don't just get caught up in the seasonality approach of I'm going to sit on the sidelines because of all those other issues that we've talked about. I would, Zillow saying, hey, this could pick up demand. I'm skeptical that it will. Unless the customers are really being educated on the opportunity. On February 2nd, 2023, when we hit 5.99 on the 30-year fix for one day, by March 2nd, 2023, it was back up to 7.1 on the 30-year fixed. That 30-day lesson that is only a year and a half old is something that I would be reminding buyers of over and over and over again as they say, "Ooh, I like that we're in the low sixes and that I can qualify for 5.9 right now with your lender that you've, hooked me up with, and this is fantastic, but I want to wait for it to get even lower." Don't be greedy, okay? When there's a couple different types of, gamblers, when you go to, the casino. You get two guys, "Hey, I want to go play a little blackjack." One guy sits down with they both have $300, let's say. One guy says, I'm here to either win or lose. I'm gonna put the 300 in now. And then the other guy sits there and bets a quarter at a time. Okay. And let's say there's two types of gamblers from after the first hand. Okay. Let's say after the first hand, they both win. The dealer breaks. So the person that put 300 in won 600. Okay. Now the person that bet 25, they're up too, but they're up 325. The guy that's up 325 says to the guy that's now up 600, "Hey, stay with me. Just start betting a quarter." Because this whole strategy of betting 300 is, "Hey, I'm gonna win or lose. I'm gonna double up and walk away." Okay, because the odds are I'm gonna start losing. So this person's up $300, and they say to the guy that's their buddy that's like wants to sit there and play, wants to get the free cocktails and whatever, says, "Hey, I'm out, man. I doubled up. I'm leaving." The guy that's betting the 25 a hand says, "Well, come on, you just bet small now." "No, I don't want to get needled away. I don't want to just sit here and let the casino chip away at this $300 that I won." Okay. If I sit here long enough, that's what they want. You're going to just sit here and eventually you're going to lose your 300 initial investment, your 325 more likely than not. And it's just going to happen slower over time, right? The more you wait for this magical moment, the more opportunities you're going to lose in the market, the more chances of volatility of the rate going back up. I get it. We're on a trend that feels good right now. And you would think, let me just keep waiting for it to get better. Let me keep waiting for it to get better. It's like trying to time the stock market. Doesn't work that way. Okay. You've got what is a great opportunity right now. Go in strong and get yourself a deal in what I believe is a window of opportunity for buyers. And that goes for your own investments right now as well. Okay. So there's Zillow's thoughts on mortgages. Resi Club just did a analysis on mortgages, and there are a number of mortgage-free U.S. homeowners. In fact, that number just hit an all-time high. This chart is, I would get this chart from BAMX immediately. If you're not in BAMX and taking advantage of our hot sheet show notes, we have hot sheet show notes, every single show that look like this, that so many of you are taking this data that I'm talking about, copy and pasting it into your feedback to sellers and buyers and your database and your emails and all the text messages, all of that kind of stuff. That's available to you every single day inside of BAMX, and also the charts every single day. So use code HOT to get your 10% off and get into BAMX today. But this chart right here, I'd be using quite a bit. Okay. This number is now at an all-time high. It's gone up every single year since 2010, essentially. And the trend has been up since 2010 when we were at 32.1% of owner-occupied units without a mortgage. Now we are at 39.8%. 4 out of 10 homes are mortgage-free. 4 out of 10 homes. And if you're looking for, listing inventory, to me, this is those opportunities. Okay. Certainly people that are second homeowners, mortgage-free. Okay. Because prices are high and they may have some fear about all of the uncertainty that we're talking about at the end of the year. You can use something like PropStream, which, by the way, PropStream just announced they're going to be joining us at BAM Mania. Put PropStream's link down below. This is a way to target people without a mortgage and a variety of different ways. You can target people with a second mortgage. Maybe they're getting pinched, whatever. You target a variety of different scenarios inside of your market using PropStream. They just announced last week that they're going to be joining us as a sponsor at BAM Mania. Couldn't be more happy with PropStream, and I use them here with the team as well. So 4 out of 10 homeowners are mortgage free. This is according to Resi's Club analysis of U.S. Census Bureau data. Okay. Also means that, hey, 4 out of 10 listings just don't have reason to negotiate lower prices. One of the reasons why prices be astonished to see prices drop considerably. You know, I think there's going to be a deceleration of appreciation. That is obviously apparent as we're getting into the later part of the year. But to think that prices are going down 20%, 40% of homeowners would never even consider that. 40% of homeowners would laugh. They have no mortgage. Why would they do that? And then when we take the 60% of homeowners and, 80% of those are under 5% on the 30-year fixed, it's far-fetched to, when you start doing the numbers, to believe that there's going to be any type of significant price drop. In fact, prices could go up again next year. That's where all the projections sit. So this truly is a window of opportunity here this winter to me. Here's the mortgage-free homeowners by location, okay, where most of them are. You got a lot in Florida, okay, even though that is where prices seem to be softening the most. Florida, Texas, and then you've got California and the Northeast, a little less, but there are pockets where I'd say those are the second largest areas there where people do not have this mortgage, okay? Across the country, the mortgage-free status does vary a lot. Regions with lower home values, areas with higher proportion of older populations tend to have higher percentages of mortgages of homeowners without mortgages. Okay, among the 200 largest U.S. metros, these are the 5 that have the highest mortgage-free. These are the 5 markets with the highest mortgage-free. Okay, Brownsville, Texas, 63%. McAllen and Beaumont, Texas, are in the top 3. Then you have Ocala, Florida. Bobby, you didn't like the pronunciation of Beaumont? Beaumont. To my people in Beaumont, I apologize. Ocala, Florida, and Lake Charles, Louisiana. So just as the map showed us, that Florida, that Gulf Coast region has the highest percentages of mortgage-free homeowners. Okay, the 200 populations by metro. So the biggest metros. Okay, if you just say 200 U.S. metro population, these are the lowest mortgage-free homeowners. So just the reverse of what we looked at. You got D.C., Vallejo. There you go, Bobby. Listen, when reading and speaking, I am certifiably, I've never been certified, but I am certainly dyslexic when I'm reading and speaking. I can actually read and pronounce these in my head a little better than I can articulate them out loud. Okay, a place in Colorado. I won't. I can't help you. You can't. Greeley? I'll go with Greeley, Colorado. Denver, Colorado, and Provo, Utah are your top 5 for lowest percentage of cash-owned homes. Okay, pronounced Beaumont. Jeff Withers, thank you very much for, invite me to, and if you're in Beaumont, invite me out there. Maybe I'll never forget it once I take a trip to Beaumont. I'll never forget it now. I'll tell you that. All right, don't forget this. The 10-year continues to be trending in the right direction, 3.655 on the 10-year today. This is still, beating like the Logan Mooney-Shami projection for the year. He didn't think we'd be able to sustain below 3.8 really at any point this year. And so this is really, really interesting to see that, especially in a Fed week. We're in a Fed week officially. 6.14 on the 30-year Mortgage News Daily on Friday. That's where we ended the week. The Freddie Mac 30-year weekly came in at 6.2 last week. So These are the lowest interest rates again since February 2nd, 2023. On Friday, if you listen to Knowledge Brokers podcast, it was interesting. The CME Group Fed Watch, which the Fed meeting is happening this week, went all the way back to like 50-50. After, remember, earlier last week, it was 85% chance that it would be a quarter point cut. Then on Friday, it was 50-50 that it'd be a quarter versus half, which was interesting. It was like, wow, so strong at the beginning of the week, 85% chance it'd only be a quarter point versus a half a point. Well, today, look at this, 65% chance that it's going to be a half a point cut this week. So CME Group is now leaning favorably to half a point versus a quarter of a point. That's big news on this Monday because we are getting closer every single day. They will meet Tuesday and Wednesday, press conference Thursday, and then we'll break down all of the parts of Jerome Powell mentions housing on Thursday and just the overall tone and what the decision is there as we get into that. All right, there is your hot sheet for the week. BAMmania.com to lock in your tickets for BAM Mania Circa Las Vegas, October 17th and 18th. BAM X members, you all get 25% off your BAM Mania tickets. To get a discount into BAM X, join the community. Use code HOT on the BAM X link down below. It's your hot sheet for the week. I will see you guys all back here tomorrow. Until then, toodaloo.